Oh, yes, yes, yes. This is a beautiful Monday in the Carolinas, and I hope you guys are enjoying your victory Mondays, or if your team happened to lose, hopefully you got a couple of moral victories like the Carolina Panthers. And as Thomas Brown, old offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, said last week, there are no attaboys, no pats on the – we're here to win games. Yes, that is true, Thomas Brown, but when you're playing the best team in the National Football League and Bryce Young looks as good as he did yesterday, it feels pretty good sometimes, BB. I mean, am I right about that one?
I think it definitely does. And for us, I think we can – maybe the team will look at it as a moral victory, but us staying in that top 5 draft spot with Mason Graham on the board, I think as fans, we're saying, wow, what a moral victory we had there.
Exactly. I mean, we're feeling pretty good. Of course, you always want to win the football game, but we're going to get into Bryce Young and how good the Carolina Panthers really looked here in just a little bit. It's been a pretty solid weekend of football. I thought this weekend was pretty epic. I mean, a lot of teams went down in college football, some absolutely epic football games that we are excited to get into this on Sunday. There was a lot of drama in the football world, and the most exciting game of the weekend, that had a lot of hype centered around it, was Ohio State versus Indiana, a top 5 matchup where number 2 and number 5 squared off in Columbus in the shoe, and Ohio State took care of business. They put up points and points and points, and I'm telling you, with this Ohio State team, they just lull and they go and they just beat teams down. Like with Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. I would love to see a couple more chunk runs. You know how the Philadelphia Eagles get with Saquon Barkley, but it doesn't matter because this team will just keep punching you. Keep punching, and then at some point you bow down. Like versus Penn State, they were down 10-0 early in that game. Will Howard threw an interception, pick 6 going the other way, 10-0 Penn State. You could be pretty nervous. Ohio State comes back to win that game 20-13. This week against Indiana punches first. They get in. It's 7-0. Ohio State didn't really feel any sort of pressure at that moment. Ohio State just looked great in the game where they're supposed to look great, and they dominate the Hoosiers. And there's been a lot of chatter already about the fact that means Indiana stinks. And BB, I'm here to say that's not what that means at all. Ohio State is just one of the best teams in the country. And did you get to watch that game, Ohio State versus Indiana?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think this means Indiana's a bad team at all. Like if you go look, although they haven't beat the best teams in the country, if you go look at their box scores, they dominate everybody they've played pretty much outside of Michigan, which they still won. But I don't think by any means this means Indiana's a bad team. I think more it might just show how dominant Ohio State can be. And I do think Ohio State's one of the best teams in the country. Simple as that.
Exactly, BB. I love that take from you. And I think it's mostly the SEC guys, just in general, who have a lot to say about other conferences. And I'm here to say, okay, I get it. SEC historically has been amazing, right? Well, this year, those teams at the top of the SEC might just not be that good. And people you don't want to hear that if you're an SEC guy. So here's what I did. I brought some stats with me here today that I'm excited to read off for you guys. Let's just go over the top 5 teams. I don't want to bash anybody outside of the top 5. Alabama took a tough loss versus Oklahoma. I'm a big fan of Alabama, a big fan of Jalen Milroe. Hopefully they find a way back into the college football playoffs. One of our best friends, Big 30, is a linebacker for that team. BB and Ole Miss, not looking good for them either. Jackson Dart throws, what was it, 3 interceptions in his last four passes of the game?
Yeah, simple as that. One got called back, but it was it was intercepted.
One gets called back, but after he throws that second one, he's crying on the sideline. Gets overturned. Okay, he still got tears in his eyes. He wipes. He goes back out, throws another interception. Now he's really crying. And now this season is more than likely over. But here I have some stats for you. The SEC's top 5 teams as of today: Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and South Carolina. I'm just going to talk about the top three because A&M is out, and people don't want to hear what I have to say about that South Carolina team right now. That is absolutely rolling, and they could. Yeah, we're just going to leave them out for now because I'm already going to ruffle up a couple of feathers with these stats. And South Carolina is a bad team, baby. They might make a run at something here. If not this year, definitely the next couple of years. Texas, number one. They ain't beat nobody, BB. Nope. They ain't beat nobody. Their best win is Vanderbilt. And congratulations to Vanderbilt. You're not being regarded as the worst team in the SEC who can't win football games at all. Good for them. But if we're going to be honest, if that's the resume you're taking to the College Football Playoff Committee, saying our best win is Vanderbilt, that ain't good enough, chap. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And they also ranked Vanderbilt for a week or so, just so that win looks a little bit better for Texas. They've lost 2 weeks in a row now. They're out of the top 25. Texas gets dog walked by Georgia. And I mean dog walked. They were down 23-0 at the half. And if you remember correctly, Quinn Ewers got benched in that football game. That's how bad they looked. And it wasn't because Georgia is some amazing football team. Carson Beck threw 2 interceptions in the first quarter of that game. And so Georgia, it's not like they look so dominant, so great that, Texas SEC football is that special. Okay, BB? So they lose that game. They get ran at home. And that team is first place in the SEC right now. Georgia is number 2. They had a tough loss to Alabama early in the season. Okay, got it. But they got dog walked by Ole Miss. Did they not, BB?
They did.
They got absolutely ran by the Rebels, who have now two pretty bad losses with Kentucky and Florida on their, on the wrong side of their win-loss column. And they went to war, UGA, went to war with a 4-7 Kentucky team. 13-12, BB. Kentucky's terrible. They have that. They've won 4 football games in 4 football games in 11 weeks. They're terrible. They also dodged a bullet against a 6-5 Florida team who they should have lost the game. They were losing 13-6 at the half. And DJ Lagway gets hurt. They get saved by the bell. And so they get to play a walk-on QB for the rest of the game. They win that game. Georgia, that's not a great resume, right? I mean, I don't care that you're playing SEC ball. That's not a great resume. That's your number 2 team in the SEC. Number 3 is Tennessee. They lost to Arkansas, who was 6-5. I get the argument. The argument's going to be, well, they're losing to teams in the SEC. The SEC is just that good. Well, give me just a second because Arkansas lost to Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State, BB, is dead last. Not in the SEC. Not in the Big Ten. They are dead last in the Big 12 conference. They haven't won a single football game in the Big 12. They're terrible. Arkansas lost to this Oklahoma State team, and the same team beat Tennessee, Arkansas. And don't get me started on who Tennessee beat in week 7, because that's going to say a lot too. So the SEC, BB, is not a special conference this year. The Big Ten, I'm tired of people trying to knock on the Big Ten for handling business in the games where they should be handling business. Okay, in history, SEC, it's been the better conference. I completely agree, especially over the last decade. They've won the most championships, but not this year. They're not the best conference this year. They keep losing games that they quote unquote should be winning. They're losing to teams that are the worst team in the Big 12. These teams are not special this year, BB. Saban is gone. Saban wins those football games, right? Saban doesn't lose to Oklahoma, not with where they're standing in the conference right now, not needing to win every single game, but they don't have Saban. Saban didn't only build the Alabama house, he built the entire SEC because Kirby Smart coached under him. Lane Kiffin also coached under him. These are the top teams, you know what I mean, in the SEC. Saban is gone now. So these teams need to figure something out, and I'll be danged if you say the SEC is the best conference right now because Oregon is undefeated. Ohio State has one loss to the number 1 team by 1 point on the road. And a lot of people have a lot to say about Indiana, a lot to say about Penn State. But Penn State has one loss to the number 1 team in the country. They also handle business in every single game. Not a single SEC team can say that other than Texas, that they handle business in every other game that they play in. That Penn State can say that. Indiana has one loss on the road to the number 2 team in the country. Every other game, they've handled business. Nobody else can say that. Not even Texas, because Texas got ran at home. BB, they got ran at home by a Georgia team who is begging to find their way into the college football playoff. The SEC is not the best conference, not this year, and I cannot wait to see how this season unfolds, BB, and that is the rant that I have, and I cannot wait for these guys to finally quit ducking and come hang out on Unlocked with Key and BB, and let's talk SEC versus Big Ten. And that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got, man. It's getting ridiculous, though. Because it's not the best conference.
That was a feisty rant there, and I don't know if the SEC fans would like to hear that. But my take on it is, I don't personally, in my opinion, it seems, I don't know if this has anything to play into it, but ever since NIL got introduced, these dominant teams that we've powered, like the Georgias and the Bamas that just won year after year after year. This is a question for you. Do you think NIL is like, obviously the smaller schools aren't going to benefit from it, but I'm saying like SEC football. Do you think NIL has balanced the playing field in SEC football because all of these SEC teams have the money to pay these players and they're not all good players just going to the Alabamas, going to the Georgias? Do you think it's leveling out the player field from top to bottom because these other SEC teams have money so they can go get the big players that only used to go to Alabama and Georgia? And it's just not so much as the 2 God squads. It's more like spread out throughout the conference. And also a take for that is maybe why it hasn't affected the Big Ten as much is because I know you can have money, but like, wouldn't you rather go play football at like a Texas A&M rather than, oh, I just got a bag from Purdue. Let's go play from Purdue. So that's a question for you. Do you think NIL and the SEC specifically has maybe evened the playing field since it's been introduced?
I mean, that there's a possibility there. I mean, I feel like after after a couple of seasons of this, I don't think I'm ready to say that it's played that huge, like not enough for the way that it's looking right now in the SEC. Like Alabama still has multiple guys who are going to be getting drafted first, second round, as far as I'm concerned, right? I mean, they've also got who people say is the best wide receiver in the country. You know, definitely at least top 3 in Ryan Williams. I feel like, I mean, they still have Jalen Milroe, who people, you know, before this season started say he's going to be a first-round draft pick. I feel like teams like Alabama and Georgia, if you want to talk about those 2 teams who are the top 2, technically, like over history, Georgia still has multiple guys on the defensive side of the ball, at least, who are expected to be first-round draft picks. Jalen Walker being one of them. Like, he's an absolute beast, by the way. Like, they have the play. Like, Carson Beck was regarded as I think he was a 5-star recruit who came to Georgia. Like, they've got the bones. It's not like guys aren't going to Georgia and Alabama. They just aren't winning the games, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like Deontay Lawson, he got injured this week, but like he's a dog for Alabama. Like, they have multiple guys on both sides of the ball who are highly regarded recruits and still came to Alabama, still go to Georgia. And it sucks for Alabama because they lost 2 guys to Ohio State, Caleb Downs and then Seth McLaughlin. Like, they lost 2 guys from that standpoint of things, but I don't think it's played a big enough thing for them to lose to Oklahoma last week, to be completely honest with you.
I just think the days of us seeing the undefeated Alabama and win it 3 years in a row, I simply think that those days are behind us now in the SEC. I believe that these teams are going to
host college game day every Saturday now. Yeah, those days are gone.
Yeah, I think those days are over, and I think for years to come, we're not going to see any of those dominant. I mean, I guess Texas this year, but we go back to it; they haven't played anybody. But I think if people in the SEC have to play the other top teams in the SEC, I think we're going to see lots of 2 and 3 loss teams that we're not used to see. We're used to seeing them go undefeated, and I just think overall, I think it's good to see these different teams being in the mix late in the season because it was like watching the Patriots for 12 years. It was okay. We got Bama this year. Oh, okay. Georgia won it this year. Okay, we got Bama again this year. Oh yeah, Georgia won it. Okay, Bama won it again. Bama
We
won
got
it.
Bama versus Georgia.
Yeah, it's just I really do. I think it's going to even the playing field over the long run.
I could see it. I mean, I do think that there definitely will still be teams that dominate. There are dynasties still out there to be made, but especially because I believe they're passing something. Apparently, they haven't done it yet, but I think there's going to be some form of salary cap. So, like, one team won't be able to just offer bags upon bags on like multiple players and stuff. I don't really know how that's going to work, but it does seem like the days for especially like Alabama in terms of dominating. I mean, I hope over the next 4 years with Caden playing at Alabama, they could dominate, maybe 2 or 3 of those years. Like that'd be a lot of fun. But I definitely get what you're saying in terms of the NIL.
Even if they do that salary cap thing, I think that's going to level even more because teams are only going to have a certain amount of money. And if guys like, oh, they don't have enough money to pay me at Alabama, I'm going to go to Oklahoma and they're going to pay me what Alabama
yeah,
can pay.
Yeah, but I also feel like at some point, like that kind of evens the playing field in terms of like bring it back to similar to how it was before, where you have to you go to a school because of prestige, you go to a school because of the coach, you go to a school because of all these different things, rather than just all right, they're offering me 10 million, they're only offering me, or I guess for the guy who went to Michigan, 12 million versus 6 million. I mean, yeah, pretty easy decision, but like I don't really know what the salary cap is going to look like. But every team is going to have to battle that same amount of money instead of one team being able to offer up, millions upon millions, and another team can't do the same thing. So I feel like it is going to start to lean back towards actually caring about who you play football for instead of just who's throwing the biggest bag.
Yeah, I like that. I like it.
I guess we'll see. But speaking of Alabama, speaking of Bryce Young, the Carolina Panthers, BB, which I know we can definitely agree on this. They looked amazing yesterday. It was, yes, we lost. I get that we lost the game, but it felt so good because the national media has been laughing at us for Lord knows how long, since David Tepper's been the owner, since he's fired people left and right, whatever. People laughing at Bryce Young when he was the first overall pick, and he's too small, right? They say he's too small. He can't see over the line. He can't make the reads. He struggled last year, and that just made everything so loud, especially early in this season. And every single one of us Panthers fans, BB, like every time I tell somebody I'm a Panthers fan, pat on the shoulder. Oh, man, bless your heart, dude. Bless from every other fan in the league. And it sucked. And I'm not saying we're out of it. We haven't won a Super Bowl, but only 3 QBs put up 25-plus points, BB, against the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Bryce Young. And stats were good. Like, his stats were good. They weren't great, but what made this performance so great was the fact that Chuba Hubbard only had 58 rushing yards. The Chiefs scored every single time they touched the football, it felt like. We might have got 1 or 2 stops all game, but this was the very first time where we really relied, and Dave Canales really relied on Bryce Young to answer again and again and again. And he did just that. Like in these past couple games, we kind of leaned on Chuba Hubbard. Bryce Young made a couple of big throws. Even last year, like some of the games that we consider to be Bryce Young's best game, like cool. He made some big throws, but we rely heavy on like run game. This was the first game where it's like, all right, Bryce Young, we need you bad. Because we can't run the ball on this team. We need to see you throw some nice ball. And he was throwing dots all over the field, BB. How did you feel about Bryce Young yesterday against the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, it was the Chiefs didn't score on 2 possessions. It was that's it. The both of those were in the second half. The first half, every time they touched the ball, it led to points. Obviously, it's hard to win in the NFL when your defense is giving you that kind of production. But yeah, we stayed in the game, and it wasn't just like we had a couple good drives to score touchdowns. It was consistent throughout the entire game. We had double-digit play drives. Sure, we would have liked to see some of those end in touchdowns, and unfortunately, we had to settle for field goals. But just being able to see that consistency versus, say, last year or the beginning of this year, where it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. We had, I don't know the exact number, but I would say we had at least 4 or 5 double-digit play drives that led to points. And that in the NFL, that's what you need. You need an offense to possess the ball. Obviously, we did it as good as we could. Our defense let Patrick Mahomes have the ball the whole entire second quarter, it felt like. But we did as good as we could every time we got it. We were churning clock. We had the ball, double-digit plays, and that was the most exciting Panthers football game I've watched in years, literal years.
Yep, I couldn't agree more.
We lost, and it was the best game I've watched in years.
Yeah, because it looked good. Like we had a chance to win the game, and of course, Patrick Mahomes has over a minute left, 3 timeouts. We already knew, we knew we lost the game at that point, but it didn't feel like nobody was like sad we lost that game. And it's because of how good the offense specifically looked, and the fact that we didn't have we were able to compete in both ways now. If we have to run the football with Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks, we're good. If we have to throw the football in order to stay in the game, Bryce Young, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, David Moore yesterday had himself a day, baby. We're good. And I think that everybody in Charlotte needs to get a Bryce Young jersey. And it's cool. Like, it's awesome. Cool. He's the quarterback. He had a good game yesterday, but it's honestly for what it stands for at this point. He had a terrible rookie season. Everybody was laughing at him. Everybody counted him out. After 2 weeks in this season, the questions around national media, what's the trade compensation for Bryce Young? Miami might want him. This team might want him. Maybe he should go to the Rams. The Carolina Panthers have already decided they're moving on with Bryce Young. No. Bryce Young, at that moment in time, decides, I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to grind, and I'm going to come back out on this other side and become an absolute demon. And that's what he did. And, Andy Dalton seems like he's doing okay now, but an injury is what thrusted Bryce Young back into this role. And since then, balling, BB.
Yep.
Balling. And I mean, it's looked amazing every single time. He beat the Saints, got their coach fired, beat the Giants, got Daniel Jones. He's now on the waiver wire. We've got this week we go toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs, who are the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Like, Bryce Young jerseys need to be bought all around Carolina because of what it means to be that kind of persevering character, the guy who comes back out on the other side and is just absolutely – he's a great guy, too. Look at some of these throws, BB. Look at some of these throws from Bryce Young.
First drive.
Just hanging out in the pocket.
Dime.
An absolute dime.
Every one of them is in a defender's face.
Yep, 100%. I don't know it. Like, there's a lot of QBs that can't make these throws. Did you see that throw he just made to Sanders?
Off his back foot.
Off of his back foot into the pocket. And if you get bored of watching Bryce Young, look at that man, Robert Hunt versus Chris Jones, because Chris Jones didn't record he didn't have a tackle. He didn't have a sack. He didn't have a tackle for loss. He didn't do squat. Robert Hunt, I believe, is the best interior offensive lineman in the entire league. People have so much to say about Chris Jones and how much of a hog molly he is. It does not matter when Robert Hunt is manning this guy left and right. And look at this, man. Dime. Absolute dime over the middle.
That's what people said he couldn't do, was over the middle. He's too small. And a lot of throws over the middle.
A lot of throws all over the place, BB.
Yeah.
A lot
you see his passing chart? His passing chart was a thing of art. It was every blade of grass had a completion on it.
Do you this play right here I want to watch again. This, for people that did not get to watch the game, this is 4th and 2. This is
They brought the
this is our
dogs.
last hope. That is our last hope at winning this football game. Exactly. They blitz everybody. They blitz literally everybody. Bryce Young sits in there, throws a dime piece. This was the very first time where Bryce Young made Steve Spagnuolo, the Kansas City Chiefs, and a defense pay for blitzing him. If you want to bring the house, that's fine. I know I got man-to-man. Thielen's going to win, and I'm going to throw him a dime. BB, man, that's exciting to see. That's exciting to see.
What I was going to say, it's not like Steve Spagnuolo was like, hey, we're obviously the better team on paper. We're going to drop into coverage and we're going to make Bryce Young beat us. It was not that all. It was, we are going to play our football. We're going to send the dogs and we're going to see what Bryce Young can do, because they obviously clearly they didn't think he would be able to do what he did. And every single time they brought the blitz, Bryce Young got the ball out quick and he got it to a receiver. And in the NFL, that's what you have to do. You just have to find the open player and make the accurate throw. And that's all he did. And I wish so bad I was a fly on the wall in that locker room after the game, because every single player said Bryce Young gave a fiery speech after the game, letting everybody know this is how good we can be. This was no fluke. And Robert Hunt said that speech got him so fired up. He said he was ready to go back out there 4 more quarters. Let's play again. Like, that's after he's been spent 4 quarters battling Chris Jones, which some people say is the best D tackle in the entire league. He was ready to go again. So
I love it, man.
I don't know if this year we're going to completely turn the page and just start stacking W's, but like in 2 or 3 years, maybe, even next year, maybe if we get the defense sorted out, like the South is ours. You're in the chat, Pierce. The South is ours. The Falcons are pro.
I don't think it's going to be this year either, but I'm okay with that, because this wasn't with Derek, especially with Derek Brown being out. But in general, we don't have the full roster, to be completely honest, to compete for a Super Bowl regardless. So hopefully we can go get Mason Graham, because he is a dog in the middle. Mason Graham, Derek Brown in the middle. It looks like we got somebody in DJ Wanham. Jadeveon Clowney made a couple hey, come on. This team is starting to turn the page, and I love to see it under our new head coach, Dave Canales. And I feel as though we lost a lot of games early, and it didn't feel good at all the way we were losing. We had a whole debacle going on, but now it's like Dave Canales' culture started to seep in. Because even when we were losing games, you had people like Robert Hunt, people like J.C. Horn talking to the media like, listen, we're about to turn this thing around. You can jump on board if you want, or you can keep talking. You can, Panthers fans, take off the brown paper bags. We don't need them. Not with this team, not with this coach. So it's like the culture started to seep in. And yes, we didn't win yesterday, but some teams looked a lot worse against the Kansas City Chiefs than we did yesterday, BB. So I think that we've got a strong case to make a little bit of noise going forward. Pierce says you guys getting your hopes up off of a loss.
No, it's not just this single game. It's been since Bryce Young came back from the benching. It has been a different quarterback, and that obviously the benching worked. That's what we wanted to see. And Andy Reid said it yesterday. He said Bryce Young was he didn't say he was lucky to get benched, but he was pretty much saying that. He said he's very lucky that he was able to learn behind that number 14 redhead on the other side, because obviously Andy Dalton's been in the league for a long time. He's respected around the league, and I think it was good for Bryce Young just to see how it was done, just to see. That's what Andy Reid did in his few starts was he found the open receiver, nothing crazy, and he got him the ball, and that's what Bryce Young needed to learn how to do.
And I think the biggest thing is he started to give guys a chance too. And there's been a big conversation about quarterbacks, young quarterbacks getting in the game a little bit too early. You know, they're shell shocked. You can ruin them, let them develop, blah, blah, blah. Speaking of guys like that, it didn't happen in the same way for this guy, for Will Levis. He got hurt a couple weeks ago. He had to sit out for a little bit. And this is how he comes back, BB. Hang on, before I pull this up. This game was absolutely wild. We're just going to go through a little bit of this game. We're going to start here.
This field goal attempt of 50 yards or more. Okay? He's made another one. He's got.
How important is it to be the difference between the
CJ
3
Stroud,
or the 4 seed?
He's going to step back here.
Stroud steps up in the pocket. Flags come in. Stroud in the middle of the field. Intercepted. Kenneth Murray leaps high in the air to intercept the.
It's 23-17 in the third quarter. It's looking good for the Tennessee Titans, but as a Houston fan, you're definitely like, no way. We're not losing to the Titans. We are not losing the Titans.
And again, Petrie's out with that shoulder injury sustained in the first half. Levis has it intercepted. Jimmy Ward.
Get back there, Will. Go.
He could go the whole way. He's got Levis to beat into the end zone.
Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back on this play because as playing a nickel safety, I know Jimmy Ward was licking his chops looking at Will Levis. The nickel safety is inside the number 2 wide receiver. I don't have a clicker, sadly, but he's inside this number 2 wide receiver. He is sitting flat-footed, begging Will Levis to throw that ball to the outside wide receiver on a slant route. And also, BB, look at you pointed this out to me pre-show. After Levis throws this interception, just watch him get back. But first, watch Jimmy Ward. He looks like he's a linebacker, but he's playing a nickel safety. Watch him lick his
Stayed in the first half. Levis has
it
intercepted.
We're gone.
Jimmy Ward. He could go the whole way. He's
Put your head
Levis
down.
To beat into the end zone. Touchdown, Texans.
Touchdown,
the
Texans.
Game
this
has
game
flipped.
Watch right here.
This game is getting
Watch
crazy.
him come off the ball.
Licking his chops. We're going the
and
other
Levis
way
never sees him, and Jimmy Ward just steps into the throwing lane. He's got his eyes on Levis the entire time, and that's as easy of a pick six as he's ever had.
And that's exactly what left.
Mom, the house here in Houston, and a fumble by the Titans. It'll be recovered by the Texans. Jackson came running down the ball, spun off his right hip, and the Texans jumped on top of it. Play field goal attempts.
Field
Jay
goal.
just laid it out. Good snap, good
yarder.
hole. Kick is on its way. End over end. It is good.
And it's good.
And for Fairbairn, he's in the NFL records for the Titans. And
Here
the pick
comes
six.
Will Levis. Okonkwo. 40.
He's got some
50.
Inside Texans
Get out of the
territory.
way.
Inside
We're
the 35,
going
30, 25, 20. He may go.
Wait.
Stiff arm.
Through
End
the house.
zone. Touchdown, Titans.
Touchdown, Titans. They're now up.
That's Stover's tight end. Stover tripped up as he gets down to the 10-yard line. It was McCreary who tripped him up.
And C.J. Stroud here on 3rd and 9. It's like, okay.
On third down, Stroud.
28-yard field goal. I'm just going to throw this bad boy away. We're going to tie it up. If we're either going to get the ball back or we're going to overtime. I trust our team to finish this.
Good snap.
No, sir. 28-yard field goal. Another field goal. Get your ass up off the ground. If I'm C.J. Stroud, that's what I'm saying to the kicker. Here comes Will Levis, though. 3rd and 5. All right. Hang on. Because this play is bad.
Hold on. I didn't watch this game. How did it go from right here on 3rd? I mean, did the Titans kicker kick an punter punt an absolute nuke?
Yeah, it was a bomb, but it was dude, yeah, I mean, I guess it was. Jesus.
I mean, that field is flipped.
Yeah, so it's also 3rd and 17. So they lost a couple. I guess there was a sack or something. But this play from CJ Stroud, you're in your own end zone. The only place that you can go is forward. You cannot do this.
Be careful, it's a safety.
Dan Orlovsky right there, baby.
Dan Orlovsky, exactly. I wonder what he had to say today on Get Up about that one. But BB, Will Levis is another guy who's kind of been playing not terrible football. I think he's played good enough for the Tennessee Titans to stick with him moving forward. He got sacked 8 times yesterday, but that did not matter because he still won the football game. He still put up 32 points against the Houston Texans, who have a top 10 defense. You know what I mean? And over the past 3 weeks, he has a passer rating of 109. He's become the first player since the merger to have a passer rating above 105 in a 3-game span where he was sacked 20-plus times.
Wow.
So with this terrible offensive line, it seems like they're going to be drafting an offensive lineman early, maybe or wide. I don't know. They got a lot of holes to fix. But Will Levis has very much done his part. And over the last 3 weeks, he's thrown for 748 yards, 5 touchdowns, and only 2 picks versus the Chargers, Vikings, and Texans. Arguably 3 top 5 top 10 defenses. Like, he's been doing his part in Tennessee, BB.
That is that's kind of a crazy stat. First since the merger, 20+ sacks in 3 games, QB rating over 105. You would probably say, oh, I'll go with like Tom Brady. I'll go with Aaron Rodgers. No, it's the Mayo man, Will Levis. That is wild to see. They are still at what's the record now? 3-8, I think.
Yeah, 3-8.
So
we'll be drafting early.
Am I sold on Will Levis being a good QB? No. I mean, that pick he just threw was you can't do that.
Yeah, that's terrible. But BB, I wish I had some of the clips on some of the throws he did make. Some of the throws he did make were nasty, like 60 yards down the field on a rope to Calvin Ridley. Another one bombed to Westbrook-Ikhine. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying he's a beast, but
you taking him over Stroud?
No, I'm not taking him over Stroud.
You taking him over BY?
Absolutely not. I'm taking BY over Stroud.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this season plays out, but everybody was giving the Panthers heck for the BY over Stroud pick. We'll see what the narrative's like at the end of the year. But I saw a stat, dude. CJ Stroud this year in the first half, like his numbers are they're ridiculous. They're like up there with some of the best in the league. You flip it to the second half, he's like a bottom 5 QB in the entire league. So I don't know if that's the play calling switching up, if that's like them not adjusting, I guess, from the first half to second half, and the defense just adjusts to what they're doing and it's not working out. But like, that's just like, how are you so electric in the first half and then the second half you're just blowing games?
Yeah, that I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But I feel like it's one of those things where he's got to just be tasting what Bryce Young was tasting last year. It seems like his O-line's beat up. His wide receivers have been cooked for the last couple of weeks. He finally gets Nico Collins back, and Nico Collins is clearly a beast.
Yeah.
He's elite. Like, he's starting, like, things are starting to look better for CJ Stroud, at least, you know what I mean? But it's like, when you don't have the weapons and you don't have the protection, you've seen it now for CJ Stroud. You saw it for Bryce Young. If you have terrible play calling mixed in with that as well, you have Caleb Williams. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that goes into a quarterback having success. And I think CJ Stroud is starting to taste a little bit of that, BB.
Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. Dude, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a picture of like a older Texans fan that like kind of looks like CJ Stroud if he was like 60. But dude, it's like CJ Stroud whenever teams have film on him. Dude, it's the funniest looking picture I've ever seen. But I mean, I still believe in CJ Stroud. Obviously think he's a good quarterback, but he was a guy that I drafted in fantasy. It's like top 5 QB drafted, and I think I started him for maybe the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, confidently drafted him too.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff hurts. A guy who has been balling, though, well, some say it got pretty loud at halftime for this guy. Let's go. Let's listen to this. Let's listen into this Dallas Cowboys versus Washington Commanders football game, BB. We're gonna let's pause real quick before we go too deep. This game, with 8 minutes and 15 seconds left, the score is 10-9. This game finishes with a score of 34-26. That's how many points were scored in the last 8 minutes of this ball game. Okay, field goal, Brandon Aubrey. Like every other time he kicks it, it is cash. Okay, here comes Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. A dime piece, Zach Ertz, first down, fumble. Oh my, okay, so the Dallas Cowboys are definitely going to win this game. They're up 4 points, 3rd and 5. Here we go. Luke Schoonmaker, touchdown. 20-9 with 5 minutes. That was a good throw by Cooper Rush. 5 minutes left. Noah Brown, first down. Jaden Daniels, Noah Brown, first down. Okay, the Washington Commanders are moving the ball now. Another great ball from Jaden Daniels over the middle. And here we are. Touchdown, Zach Ertz. The Commanders are now down 20-15. They're going to go for 2. Jaden Daniels around the right side. Easy 2-point conversion. This is where it gets nasty. This is one of the best plays I have seen all season. Wait, actually, he just fumbled it. Wait. Oh, my. Dude, that spin, and he's gone. And he is gone. Nobody is catching this man. Like, that is...
Leon.
That is how electric is that?
That's one of the smoothest spin moves I've ever seen. Simple as that.
It would and he got up out of there.
It kind of like, I don't even know. It didn't even spin move anybody. He kind of was just standing there and then spin move burst.
Yeah, spin move burst gone. He looked like a Beyblade. He spun it like a Beyblade and came zooming out of that. All right, it's 27-17. We skipped a little bit. 1 minute, 43 seconds left. I believe his name is Joey Sly. Kicks a field goal here. Now we're talking. That one should have went out, but it goes in. They're down 27-20.
Daniels throws down the side.
I gotta, before we finish this, I really want to hear this guy is one of my favorite commentators. Joe Davis has one of my favorite calls ever with Justin Fields. Like last year for the Chicago Bears, it was late in the game. I think it was against the Eagles, maybe not. It was when Justin Fields, 4th down, he runs. Justin Fields, otherworldly. That's this guy, okay? Listen to him call this play for the Washington Commanders. It is epic.
No timeouts. Daniels throws down the sideline for Terry McLaurin. McLaurin is loose. Lightning strikes twice in Washington.
Like, come on. Lightning strikes twice in Washington. I've listened to that 8 times today, and it gave me chills again just now. The crowd is absolutely roaring for Terry McLaurin. I want to watch it one more time, BB. Field goal.
See, I hate this. I hate when NFL plays soft coverage. Like I can't stand it. Like it never works. Rush 3, everybody's playing soft. It never works.
I mean, I feel like they have to do it for a reason. Because, let's say you try and bring the house or whatever, one of your guys gets beat man-to-man, game over.
I know, have some faith. That's what you've been doing all game, and it's been working. Have some faith in your guys. This is a perfect example of why I hate it. Everybody's just kind of standing back there chilling. Terry catches it, and he caught it in the middle of 4 Cowboys and just said, "See ya."
Great ball, great catch, great. Even he took off. Talk to me again, Joe.
Daniels throws down the sideline for Terry McLaurin. McLaurin is loose. Lightning strikes twice in Washington.
Come on, man. Terry McLaurin got up out of there. Terry, anytime touchdown, cashed Pierce out. How epic was that? And listen, this game, all right, 21 seconds. They just scored lightning. Lightning struck again in Washington. We're going to go into overtime, and there's no way the 7-4 Washington Commanders lose to the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, all we got to do is make a field goal. Field goal's up, and he hooked it. He hooked it. Now we need magic again. Not good enough.
This is the highlight of this guy's career. He wanted to score so
Yeah, he wanted that. He wanted Dude, look that at how real he's running. Bad.
Hold up.
He wanted that real bad.
Dude, just look how he's running. It showed what's his name, Mike McCarthy, and he was just like, "God, why did he go score? Just lay down." Yeah, he's like, just get down. You should
have just laid it down. Can lightning strike for a 3rd time in Washington? Jay Daniels goes deep.
He tried to tip it back there. It looked like.
What'd you say?
I feel like it looked like Luke McCaffrey when I was watching it live. It kind of looked like he was trying. He knew it was short and was trying to push it back.
That would have been insane if they got that play too. Imagine being a Commanders fan this year. You've seen the Hail Mary, which was absolutely wild. I believe. Yeah, wasn't it them that blocked the kick versus the Chicago Bears? They did. They blocked the kick. Let me make sure though. The Washington they blocked that kick versus the Bears. Hang on. My bad. I can't have the wrong touchdown. No. Okay, so no, it wasn't them that blocked it. But they had a game-winning drive. No, that was a Hail Mary game versus the Chicago Bears. That's what happened with the Chicago Bears. And then and then you see that this week. Like,
seen the highest of highs and then the lowest of the last 3 weeks for them have been. I mean, if that fourth quarter didn't go the way that it went and the Cowboys weren't just, like I said, I feel like the Cowboys in the fourth quarter were just kind of letting the Commanders go down the field the entire time. Like the drive before that last TD, it was just 20-yard gain. Again. And it's just like they would have seen that their young QB 3. What was the stats at halftime again? They were like,
we'll pull them up. I got them right. It got loud for Jaden Daniels at halftime. His stats at halftime versus the Cowboys: 9 of 16, 57 passing yards, and 1 interception with a 37.8 passer rating. Remember, we just talked about Will Levis, who's had a 109 passer rating. Jaden Daniels on the other side of that with 37 passer rating. It got loud at halftime, especially on Twitter, where people were there was a lot going around about Jaden Daniels and the fact that maybe he's not who everybody tried to act like he was. Now teams have they have a little bit of film on this guy, and now this offense isn't as special as it is, but they ended up making it fun. His stat line ended up looking pretty good. And I guess the question now is Austin Ekeler okay?
Dude, I saw him walk off the field, but there is no shot in hell that guy knew where he was. No. I mean, it looked like 2 18-wheelers hitting each other.
And he, like, very seldomly do you literally see a guy get rocked and he didn't move.
No.
Normally, you'll at least see some, some arms do something, or, he's kind of squirming around. He's like head hurting, like he didn't move.
Nope. He was out cold.
Didn't move. So best of luck to Austin Ekeler. I hope he's doing okay, because, I mean, the Washington Commanders have leaned on him. But at past football, I like one time for me, high school, I blocked a punt with my face one time. And there's video on it. One day I'll bring it onto the show. But I blocked the punt. We ended up scoring a touchdown. It was in the biggest game of the year, blah, blah, blah. But you see me just on the ground like this. Done. But nobody knew, because we scored a huge touchdown. Everybody's celebrating, going crazy. But it's like a
you were knocked out?
Oh man, out cold.
Like blacked out? You don't remember it?
No, they ask what is the last thing you remember from that. So I'm watching, I've watched it back multiple times, but I was out cold, couldn't move. And then next thing you know, the next thing I remember, okay, it was I woke up in 10, 15 seconds or whatever. It was one of those. It wasn't crazy, but everybody celebrated. You miss it. Next thing I remember, didn't remember anything for the rest of the game.
Jeez, yeah. See, I don't even know what that would feel like, having a concussion. That you had a concussion confirmed that time.
I didn't tell anybody, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I played the rest of the game, and it was a mental play. It was a bad thing to do. What
does that feel like? You have a pounding headache for days. What does a concussion feel like?
I would say the days after, you're kind of in a haze. You can have a headache. I've had multiple concussions. That's why I feel for guys when they're when they get rocked like that.
Yeah.
I do feel for dudes, but the day after, you can have a headache, but it's kind of just one of those things you just feel like just not here. You know what I mean? You're just kind of floating. You're kind of floating. And I honestly feel to some extent, it lasts with you for a long time, memory wise, with just small little things. It definitely will last. So I hope the best for guys like Austin Ekeler and any other guys on the football field that are just getting absolutely rocked like that. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. But The Commanders have now lost 3 games in a row, BB. They're 7-5. This was a team that, we were all gung-ho over. And Maxi Stats came on last week. Oh, it was the Steelers. It was the Eagles.
Well, this is the Cowboys.
This is the Cowboys without Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush put up 34 points. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm glad we made something shake at the end of the game. But, neither team put up any points up until that. As you saw, it was 10-9 with 8 minutes or 6 minutes, 8, 6, whatever minutes left in the game. You're not putting up points against the Dallas squad, man. I feel like red flags should be raised here in Washington because in the past couple of weeks, let me just go down what the Cowboys have given up defensively. First, the Lions, 47 points. The 49ers put up 30 points. The Falcons put up 27 points. Eagles put up 34 points. Texans put up 34 points. I get it. The Commanders ended up putting up 26 points. But that, you know what I mean? If you really watch the game, that's not how that looks by any stretch of the imagination, BB. So I'm hoping the Washington Commanders can kind of get it figured out. But that's what happens when we crown teams, crown players a little bit prematurely. Let's
Number
see
3 QB in the league?
That's blasphemy.
Come on, man.
You can't say that. Not when the halftime stats look a little bit like that, BB.
I think your Bo Nix take is looking better week by week.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos got a big win.
Double-digit win.
Yeah, and Bo Nix is playing his piece in every single win. But
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. I'm not crowning Bo Nix too early. I'm not going to make a move like that. But there have been a lot of rookie QBs playing in some big time games, making some big time plays. Jaden Daniels being one, Bo Nix being one. Caleb Williams, BB, is coming around. I think he's coming ever since Thomas Brown took over as the offensive coordinator. He is starting to look a lot better as that team's quarterback. They're finally starting to get DJ Moore the football, which why has that not been a thing for a couple of weeks now? But here we go. Let's go ahead and watch because listen, there were a lot of games yesterday. I remember the 1:00 slate came on. It's I don't really want to watch any of these games. I'm gonna be honest. They're all kind of poop. They're all really bad games, but it ended up being the most exciting week of NFL football of this season. Let's go over this game. Minnesota Vikings, 24-10. Big time 4th down stop for the Chicago Bears. All right, 12 minutes. We're picking up in the 4th quarter. We need some plays out of you, Caleb. 2nd and 6. Scramble. 1st down, 10 to go, Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams steps up, and he finds Cole Kmet. That's a rocket. BB. Caleb Williams again, 4th and 4. If you don't get this, we're cooked. He jumps over, man. 1st down, 10 to go, Chicago Bears. We're now moving. DJ Moore. Finally, we get this man the football. He makes it look easy. Touchdown, Chicago Bears. 7 minutes left. We're going for 2 to go down 6. We look for Keenan Allen. No good. Okay, 3rd and 13. Let's get off the field. Aaron Jones. Easy 1st down. We can't have that. 3rd and 12. Sam Darnold steps back. TJ Hawkinson for a big gain. And at this point, you're thinking as a Chicago Bears fan, this game is over. This game's over. 3 minutes left. We're down 8 points. They're in field goal. They get the field goal. They're down 11 points. This is exactly what the NFL wanted out of their new kickoff, the dynamic kickoff. This puts the Chicago Bears back in the game, BB, with 1 minute and 47 seconds left. A big return, and now Caleb Williams in the offense. 4th and 3. We need you, Caleb. We need you, Caleb. A missile over the middle to Rome Odunze. This is the number 1 overall pick, looking like the number 1 overall pick. Here we go. 3rd and 3. Caleb Williams steps back. A real easy pass over the middle. Roshan Johnson just a little bit short. 30 seconds on the clock, BB. They are down 11 points. Caleb Williams.
No timeouts either.
No timeouts is right. Touchdown.
Yep.
Touchdown, Chicago.
Still at this point, you're like, all right, okay, they got no timeouts. We won the game. We won the game. The Minnesota Vikings already won the game. This one's over. It does not matter what's about to happen, right? It doesn't matter.
We're good. We're good. No timeouts, 20 seconds on the clock, 2-point conversion. Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, 2-point conversion, good. 27-24 now. We're going to need a miracle. Chicago needs a miracle. Look at this onside kick. That is perfect. It doesn't get any better.
What's his number there? 86? Pretty sure it hit him right on the leg. It's just brutal.
Yeah, I think it clicked right off. He didn't even try. I think his job here, just go block. Yeah. Go blow somebody up. Somebody behind you's job is to get the football. And
if it doesn't hit his leg, it doesn't go 10 yards. So it would have been their ball. But just nicks the leg, and that's just it's brutal. Brutal.
It's absolutely brutal. But we still kind of need magic. I mean, we're
18 seconds, no timeouts.
18 seconds, no timeouts. You're feeling like, okay, this has been a lot of fun, but we probably still don't have a chance. Here we go. Number 1 overall pick. We need you to be Superman here. Caleb Williams with a rocket to DJ Moore over the middle.
Guys better go.
We got to move. And here we go for the tie. A couple weeks ago, BB, Santos got his kick blocked.
They got a kick blocked in this game earlier in the game. This should have been
exactly. So I still do not have confidence in this kicking unit at all. We literally lost the game versus the Packers last week versus the Packers due to a blocked field goal. Here we go again. Oh God. All right, he really gets that one up, and it is good. We're going to overtime. Let's find out what happens. Caleb Williams, you've been Superman all day. Throw the ball, Caleb.
Dude, yeah, throw the ball. This play made me mad. Like,
you got to throw the ball there. Yeah, that's just a rookie mistake. I think it's one of those things. So in his press conference after the game, we're going to finish this here in a second. In his press conference, he said, Thomas Brown tells me, listen, just stay on script, stay on schedule. But when it's time to be Superman, I need you to be Superman. He says he literally will say that into the headset. I think Caleb Williams, with the game on the line, overtime, he's feeling like now it's time for me to be Superman. And it didn't work out in this case. I think he goes and he learns from that. This game from Caleb Williams was great. I think he kind of carried his team back into this ball game after being down 2 touchdowns late into this game. But here comes Sam Darnold, 3rd and 10. Boom. Jordan Addison, first down. Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, first down. And this is where it's starting to feel real bad as a Chicago Bears fan. Another heartbreaking loss is certainly on the way. TJ Hawkinson, first down. Sam Darnold is dealing in overtime, and the Chicago Bears simply cannot catch a break. TJ Hawkinson again for a chunk yardage play, and for the win, Chicago Bears
ball game.
Lose another heartbreaker, BB. Now it was the Hail Mary versus the Washington Commanders. It was the blocked kick versus the Green Bay Packers. And now it's the overtime heartbreaker after getting your hopes all the way up to the moon on an amazing comeback. And we get the ball first in overtime, BB. You know the saying in the NFL, if you get the ball first in overtime, you win, especially with all that momentum that the Chicago Bears truly had going into overtime. Certainly they don't lose. Not good enough. And they lose another heartbreaker, and it's just been a season of heartbreak for this team, BB, and I hope the best moving forward, but it can't be fun to be a Bears fan right now.
Yeah, I just pulled up the box score. Caleb Williams was also the leading rusher for the team with only 33 yards. DeAndre Swift had 13 carries for 30 yards. So he threw for 340, 2 touchdowns. That's the definition of putting the team on your back. So
number 1 overall. I think he had the most passing yards in the league this week. So, hey, Caleb Williams, let's get off of his case saying like he's finally got a play caller with Thomas Brown, who apparently could be in the lead to be the head coach next year. We'll see how that goes. But there's some things going on. BB, we have to review our picks from last week against the spread. The document's updated, right?
Yes, I did just update it.
Okay, so you have officially taken the lead.
I think the picks were I went 7-4 this past week, and you went 5-6, I think.
Jeez, man, I'm getting cold. I gotta quit going with storylines, I guess.
You gotta quit. You gotta quit picking against the Broncos.
I mean, I'm going to continue to pick against the Broncos, man. I'm gonna be honest. I gotta.
I don't. Yeah, I should. Us both going with the Rams. That was a blunder. Eagles they're too good.
Yeah, the Eagles are, dude. Saquon Barkley. I've said it. Saquon Barkley is the best player in the NFL, BB. Like, he had 255 rushing yards. He had over 302 total yards yesterday. 6 teams had bye weeks, okay? But do you understand the fact that of the teams that played yesterday, over a quarter of those teams didn't even have 302 total yards as a team? Saquon Barkley had more yards than over a quarter of the teams that played in entirety this week. He's the best player in the league. He's the best player in the league.
That's it. That's absolutely wild, dude. I think I've said it before. If you're a Giants fan, or if you're the Giants front office, you're straight up sick, man. Like, you let this guy go walk for $10 million, and then you gave Daniel Jones $160 million, and now he's on the streets. Like,
yeah,
the Giants GM, he's got to be gone, man. I don't care what you like. Those 2 mistakes have set your franchise back years.
Yeah, BB, and not to mention, he also, I believe, let Xavier McKinney go. Right? Was he not on the Giants?
I think he was. Yeah, and he's leading the league in picks.
His seat is piping hot right now. His seat is piping hot. Like, what?
Did you see that Malik Neighbors post-game interview? He was not happy. He's like, I didn't get the ball until we were down 30-0. Like, what do you want me to do? And then they said something. What was the question? It was like, is that on play calling? And I guess he's got a nickname for Brian Daboll. He was like, ask Dabes. He was like, ask Dabes. I was like, things aren't good.
I know. I saw something. He called him soft. I think he also said something that wasn't on. Did he say that? He said it wasn't on Daniel Jones?
He said we look the same with Daniel Jones. How is this Daniel Jones' fault? Dude, a reporter asked Brian Burns. He said something like, how did it feel to be down 30-0 at home coming off a bye week? And all he said was, it's ass. And that was it.
Yeah, man, the Giants are in shambles, but it's just kind of playing right into the Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders sweepstakes. So I honestly think Giants fans want to lose. As a player, obviously, you never want to get embarrassed like that. The Giants haven't won a single football game at home this year. They haven't won a single football game at home. I believe it's 0-6. Like, his seat is piping hot. General manager Brian Daboll, both seats are hot right now.
Dude, Giants Twitter still likes Daboll though. They were like, I saw a thing, somebody said fire Daboll, and then all the Giants fans were like, this would be the first guy the off the streets picked up. So I feel like they kind of like him, but I don't know.
I feel like in New York, you just kind of need a full reset. Like, I mean, you know what I mean?
But dude, going into this year, they clearly thought they were going to be good. They made a big trade for Brian Burns and extended him, and I think, what are they, 2-9 now?
Yeah, they're poop. They're poop, as Brian Burns says.
I kind of wish the Panthers had the first pick, because I feel like some teams are going to be sending a haul to move up for the opportunity to get the Shedeur Deion.
Dude, an absolute haul. This is going to be one of those years. You know what I mean? Like,
but who's in the race for the first pick? The Titans? I mean, no, the Titans just got a dub. It's the Giants, Jags, the Raiders. I mean, we have the 5th pick. We could still be in the running if we lose out.
Yeah. I mean, I hate losing, man. I don't like – this is the one loss that I'm cool with. Like, I don't want to lose to the Bucs. I don't want to lose to the Falcons. I want to beat the Cowboys. I want to compete against the Eagles. Quan is
he's gonna have 300 rush yards.
Dude, Saquon is going to do nasty things.
Yep. I mean, I think if you put me behind the Eagles O-line and you play me versus the Panthers, I could give me 50 yards. I'll get 50 yards.
Probably more, dude.
Dude, run these so
our
bad.
D-line, man. I will say number 75. I'm sorry, I don't got your name right now.
Deshaun Williams,
Brian Ray, maybe.
Deshaun
Williams.
75.
He made some big time plays.
He was on our team last year, but he's been mostly on the practice squad this year. But yeah, he did have a couple good plays, and that's the guy on the Mahomes scramble. He was pleading for the hold call, but didn't get called. Yeah, I think we just need a D-line overhaul. I think we need. I would like to see. I want to have belief in Caleb Farley, but we need another corner.
Let's not. Too. Yeah, we can't do that. Dude, like, I'm thinking it starts up front. Like, if we do Mason Graham.
It starts up front, and we've seen that with the O-line. Like, the trenches are the most important thing.
1,000%.
Yep.
1,000%. Like, I couldn't agree more. That's a great point. Like, pretty similar in terms of, skills on the offensive side of the ball, but now we can block a little bit. And defensively, like, J.C. Horn, like, he didn't have his best game. A lot of flags were called on him, but, like, he's a good corner. You know what I mean? Like, he's good. Dude, that's the only guy I'm really believing in right now, man. I mean, of course, DJ Wadham's been very good recently. Jadavion's I didn't really love him at the beginning of the season, but he's been playing well.
I mean, I think he's done after this year. He signed a 1-year homecoming deal with us. I think he's probably hanging it up.
Probably, yeah. Well, I don't necessarily. Trevin Wallace I need to see a little more out of him. I'm gonna be honest.
I think I agree with you, but dude, going back to the 2015 Panthers, our defensive line, we had 2-star defensive tackles and Star Latulele and Kawan Short. Then we had Charles Johnson coming off the edge. And if you just have a good D-line, it makes everybody else's job on the defense so much easier. Josh Norman was one of the top corners in the league, people said, because he was shutting down half of the field. But yeah, it's not hard it's still hard, but it's not as hard to play corner when the QB's got at most 3 seconds. You don't have to lock up for that. When you got to sit there and lock up for 5, 6, 7 seconds, that's when you get exposed. So I feel just having a D-line to generate pressure, it helps the entire unit as a whole. And obviously 2015, having Luke Kuechly definitely helps. But our safeties were Roman Harper and Kurt Coleman, and I'm pretty sure Kurt Coleman was an all-pro that year, and he wasn't a crazy safety. He just had an easier job because the quarterback had 3 seconds at the most. Yeah. Oh, you just got to generate pressure. Simple as that.
I completely agree. I think it's got to be a lock that we take a defensive lineman in the first round, maybe even in the first 2 rounds.
I think we need to walk out of the first. We need to draft 3 defensive linemen in the first 4 rounds.
And I feel like it's always been like super fun to get that sexy wide receiver. I would be just as exactly. I don't care. I would be just as excited to draft Mason Graham as I would be to draft Travis Hunter. To be completely honest,
I think I would be more excited if we got Mason Graham. I would be more excited
because he is a game wrecker, and everybody needs to go watch him.
I looked it up before the show. I know we are running over, but I was like, if we're drafting, because I sent you that mock draft last night. I took Mason Graham, edge rusher, first 3 picks. So I was like, okay, if we're not going to get an extra receiver, let me go see who the wide receiver free agents are this year, because we can make a splash, because we didn't pay Burns. I think we're going to extend JC this offseason. So he'll take a big chunk, but the free agent receivers, we could get a T. Higgins, a Stephon Diggs, a Chris Godwin. I mean, some of these guys are getting old. T. Higgins would be the best. If we got T. Higgins, that would be.
Diggs.
I'm not gonna lie. I would send the house at T. Higgins. I really would.
I love T. Higgins, dude.
I would send the house. I would send the house, and he's from the area. He's from South Carolina. Bring him home. Give the guy a payday.
Back.
Give the guy a payday.
Please. I'm here for it. I'm so here for T. Higgins. He is
T. Higgins.
Go ahead.
T. Higgins, X, Thielen, Jalen Coker, Jatavion Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, Bryce Young, Jonathan Brooks, Robert Hunt.
Best offensive line in the league. Let's play ball. The way that Bryce Young has been giving guys a chance too, T. Higgins, I feel like is a great guy for that. Give T a chance to make a play. He will make a play. That's kind of the only one on that. Chris Godwin's getting a little old. Stephon Diggs, it seems like he is best friends with CJ Stroud, and some of this narrative has come off, but I don't necessarily know if we need
he would be good.
Who's going to be give me the ball and say, have all that mess that dude, think about Deontay Johnson.
He's a free agent. We could get him again.
I don't think we want him. Because wasn't he the one in week 2 saying bench Bryce Young? I need to get the football. Wasn't it?
He said he had a couple snarky comments. I can't play all 22 positions.
It's that kind of stuff. We don't need it. And now it's starting to show up. Deontay Johnson. We let him. Dude, I'm not kidding. I have a feeling Deontay Johnson was really that nasty in our locker room. We let him go for cheap, and he was blatantly.
We moved up 2 picks.
Yeah, he was blatantly our best wide receiver. And it's everybody was so pissed at Dan Morgan because of it. But I actually think that Deontay Johnson might have been that nasty in our locker room to where people just because the report I heard, he was the one that was in Canales' offense saying, I need a guy who's actually going to be able to get me the football, bench Bryce Young, throw in Andy Dalton. And it's okay, that happened or whatever. And he's saying stuff I can't play every position on the field. I think that and then on the other side of it, we got guys like Robert Hunt who are speaking life into Bryce Young instead of a guy like Deontay Johnson who's it's all about him. He needs his payday. He needs the ball. No, man, get him out of here. We'll take Jalen Coker, who's been playing good ball. Look at this.
I'm looking at the free agent. We got to get a couple of these top guys. Offense, T. Higgins would be my biggest one. Our O-line's fine. Our tight end is fine. On defense, I would like to Josh Sweat edge, DeMarcus Lawrence edge, Hassan Reddick edge, even though he hates football.
Maybe it's Josh Sweat. Maybe these other guys. I'm good.
You don't want to.
What about defensive tackles?
D tackles, we don't need one because we're drafting Mason Graham. What do you mean?
Sure, we're definitely not getting. Yeah,
defensive tackles aren't that good. Free agents this year. Linebackers, I would take a Dre Greenlaw from the 49ers. These guys are all old too. I would take a Nick Bolton from the Chiefs. That guy can move. The cornerback, Javarius Ward from the Niners. He's good. A lot of the other guys are old too. Don't want Mike Hilton.
No, we're good on.
I'll take a Javon Holland from the Dolphins at safety though.
He's a beast.
I'll take a Budda Baker from the Cardinals, free agent.
Budda, dude, they're re-signing Budda. They got to. He's so good.
All right,
let's get out of here, man. Let's get out of here. Let's see what we got for us today. Oh, I got a good one there. I heard this over the weekend, BB. This is actually pretty there is no window to win if you don't open the window to lose. If you don't give yourself the opportunity, to take an L, if you're just playing all safe and you're kind of staying on the sidelines, you're not putting yourself in the ball game to succeed or to fail. More rather, a lot of people are so scared of failure that they won't even get out on the field to fail or to win. So give yourself that window to lose. Once you open that door, you can jump out of that window and go win. So that's the word of the day. Appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us today. And we're going to be back tomorrow. We might not have BB. We're not going to have too many episodes this week. Our man BB is traveling. Yeah, I'm going to put this down real quick. Our man BB is traveling to hang out with some family for Thanksgiving. So it might just be me tomorrow. But everybody wish BB some safe travels. And we're going to, we'll see you guys here pretty soon. Appreciate y'all so much. Fist up. Tick, tick.
Boo.
Later.